Hey everybody, we're talking about the problems with E3 and what we would like to see changed. I'm Canadian Matt, and I'm joined by Matthew Owen.
Yeah, I'm American Matt. What's up, guys? E3 2017.
That's right.
Things sucked about it.
Now, my biggest thing, and I saw this a lot in the show, and I saw this a lot with EA's conference, is this fakeness. There are people talking to me about games rather than showing me the games. Even though Sony didn't have any big mic drop moments, I love that they just said, here's some gameplay, you guys make up your mind about this. Whereas
there's a big disconnect between, even when you look at something like Sony's press conference. I think we could just label this as the entire way EA went about their presentation.
Yeah. When
you look at the way that they did Sony, you know, they came out and they were talking to you. It was just one guy, but he felt genuine. He was like, hey guys, welcome to E3, like, check out some cool games, like, let's go. And it was just that. EA, everyone who delivered it looked like they were reading off of a teleprompter with a very fake smile. Like, go look at that Battlefield 1 guy who they showed the trailer for it, and then he's like, wow, that was awesome. He jumped off a tank off of a horse.
Yeah,
wow.
EA's and DICE's guys are very stiff. And EA has this really annoying, he's sort of like the fun, goofy personality guy. He's got the little round sunglasses, round eyeglasses, and he's got that curly hair. He was the one that introduced everybody, all the celebrities that came to the EA's 420 Get High and Play Battlefield 1 celebrity event.
Yeah, I remember that.
That guy, he was toned down here. But what I didn't like about EA's is that it's a lot of corporate people talking to you about Battlefield is great. And we know it's great, guys. And here's some more.
We love our communities.
Battlefront 1. Everyone said it's great, but we could do better. And they, like, when they say that, it's like, man, that's them basically saying, like, look, we know we could even do better than what we did before. But there's that. There's also just these YouTubers that they bring in, and they think this is how we're going to get to the kids. But the great thing about YouTubers is that they can say their own opinion. But when they are in a corporate highlight video package where these scripted stupid moments and these like dumb highlights, like that guy saying about the tank blowing up, and that stuff is just so ingenuine. I immediately don't trust that YouTuber ever again, especially if he's talking about an EA game, and you just tune right out from it, because I don't care about people telling me about a game. I want to fucking see the game and make up my own goddamn mind.
I'm gonna make a very controversial opinion here, and it might get us some hate. Controversial.
Oh,
controversial. Contra 3 Lost War. That's not even a game. Back in my day, you used to be able to pay off people like IGN if you wanted Call of Duty to have a nice score, right? So then you could tote, like, IGN gives Call of Duty Modern Warfare 10 out of 10 or whatever.
Well, there was a thing in GameSpot where Gertzman got fired because he wouldn't change a review score for Kane and Lynch 2.
Yeah, exactly. There's kind of a battle of things, but back then people trusted game. You know, you would open up your Game Informer or your OXM or your PlayStation Magazine, you'd look at the score and you'd be like, yeah, I really, like, they put a lot of investment into game reviewers. I'm a game reviewer myself, so this is why it sucks to say, but people don't really care about text opinions so much anymore as how YouTube has gotten super popular, and YouTube is a bunch of freelancers who are not journalistic. They don't have a lot of journalistic integrity. So if EA comes up and is like, hey, Jesse from whatever YouTube channel you're on, would you like probably north of $5,000-$6,000 to come talk in Los Angeles? Just say all of these things you don't really believe. Of course he's going to take that. So immediately when you start
using it... He showed them by not reading any of it off the teleprompter. He doesn't sell out. That's what it was. He didn't want to sell it. He saw that. He's like, nope, I'm not going to read that.
Well, here's the thing is that, like, that YouTuber, I think he's actually a pretty cool guy from everything I've heard.
I read that they changed the script on him like 3 times and he had memorized it, and they just... whatever.
I mean, the whole problem is that they are now paying off YouTubers and people who are popular in the public eye, who people trust, because they can't pay off people within the industry anymore. Yeah. And that super shows. And EA's entire press conference was 50% corporate garbage of people telling you how much the community loves you, and then the other 50% of it was way eccentric. Like, well, actually, I don't want to say that, because the 2 dudes who are the YouTubers who do FIFA, like, they were pretty funny,
They're fine, and they just came and they did, like, a tame version of their show, but it went on way too long. And the whole segment about Alex Hunter, I thought that was a real soccer player, because I don't follow soccer. And then I Googled him, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I've been watching some stupid highlight package on some idiot player in a story 17. Game. And I mentioned this last time we talked about EA's conference. people that only play sports games probably don't watch E3. So don't dedicate the first quarter of your show. Like, if you don't have enough to fill up an hour, an hour and a half, just don't do it. Have a half an hour show.
And here's another thing, too, is people who are watching E3 who might be interested in sports games, you sell them on the story mode. So it was good that they were like, here's FIFA. But you explain it and you just show it. You don't try to make this whole, like, crazy... It's like they're trying to make it into an ESPN Sports Center, like you said with the whole Alex Hunter bit. It's like fucking 2 minutes long about just this... Like, as a gamer, I mean, if you played FIFA 17, you know, but you want to see, like, oh, what kind of things are going to be new? You don't want this sizzle reel.
Like, show me some modes. Show me how it's going to actually happen. It's like if somebody told you the plot of a game or the theme of a game that actually really doesn't tell you shit, because it's all about, like, okay, that's a great plot, but is it a top-down isometric turn-based real-time farming simulator, or is it a side-scrolling? Can't think of any more genres.
And like you were saying, I mean, a lot of this is the same stuff, and people do buy that over and over, but you're not going to sell anybody at E3 just by saying, like, oh, here's the same mode you guys get. Like, you really need to sell these games, and if you're not going to sell them incredibly well, don't spend 30 minutes on them. And once again, here's a pro tip. Don't do 30-minute straight gameplay demos of games. Guys, no one wants to do that. Like, Nintendo, you got away with it for Zelda, but I don't want to see an entire match of Battlefront because it's already on YouTube, because people leaked it, because you gave them early copies. EA, you're a terrible company. Like, it's really obvious at this point.
The funniest line out of EA's conference is when he was talking about one of the many sports games that they do every single year, and they had added a mode, and he's like, I'm going to say this is a huge innovation over what we were doing. Like, yeah, obviously, because you put out the game every single year. How much innovation could you possibly have? And what they usually do at EA is they just, like, take away some modes, and then they give you back some modes, and they go, oh, we brought it back. It's the brand.
Yeah, look at NHL.
Yeah,
look at NHL.
It's just what can you have, really? Regular season, playoffs, franchise mode, be a player, and then all those games modes. Now they love the, like, oh yeah, buy some cards, open up some packs.
FIFA got really hard into that. And here's the overall problem is that people used to take that kind of stuff, like, they would just take it on the chin because they're like, yeah, dude, this is EA. Like, I'm watching this press conference. I saw a clip online where they were doing one of those stupid things where they were trying to highlight, and we can actually kind of move this into the next bit if you want. Like, this is EA's press conference was an entire travesty in my opinion, but there was a theming of these shoutcasters, YouTubers kind of garbage. And I watched a clip. Maybe it didn't actually happen. Maybe someone edited it in, but I feel like it did happen. They were doing one of those things at FIFA where they're like talking about esports and competitive gaming, and they're getting into all that corporate buzzword crap. And they're like, now you can represent your country. And they had this Olympics image up. Well, it was for something. Yeah, they had an image up of, like, it was a dude sitting in a chair and he was playing, like, fiercely, and then it, like, faded into the image of him, like, celebrating, but he was wearing a jersey of, like, and, like, his flag was behind him, and some dude in the audience just went like, just let out a good laugh because it was so fake. Yeah. No, you're not going to represent the entire US when you're playing FIFA online. No, it's not going to happen. At the most, you'll get a little blot in the bottom of an NBA basketball game that says, hey, on ESPN2 there's Street Fighter V championship. No one cares. Like, stop trying to sell it. It's really not that right now. And I think with this whole push towards the YouTuber esports shoutcaster culture, it's starting to leak into more than just EA.
All right, let's move on from EA. But along the same, another alley down this bad neighborhood we're in is when I was watching the Anthem trailer, the Anthem gameplay trailer. Thought, okay, it looks pretty good. I'm a little worried because it's Frostbite, and Andromeda definitely couldn't handle it. And then I remember reading about the politics. Kotaku reported about how the Andromeda team thought that the Anthem team was stealing their ideas, and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like they are, actually. This would have been a great Mass Effect game, but it's Anthem, and now it's more of a Destiny Division thing. And then I realized 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, oh, the voices you're hearing aren't your teammates. Those aren't NPCs talking to you. Those are people pretending to play the game online. Like, oh, should we go for them? No, it's a bit out of our pay grade. We'll get them tomorrow after work, buddy boy. And that
they started that with The Division. Ubisoft, I think, started that with The Division. And it's this push towards YouTuber culture. It's like, I mean,
Sea of Thieves, they had that terrible one with the faces too. The YouTubers doing it. Oh god, the streamers. I didn't think hardcore, obnoxious streamers could get more annoying. And then you script them.
And that's what I'm saying. Is this whole push towards it. I would be honest, the Anthem voice actors weren't the worst that I've ever seen. In fact, they weren't terrible. Yeah, exactly. I didn't notice for a while that they weren't NPCs. So at least that production has gone up. But it's all representative of this kind of culture of like, we're gamers and then we want to be coddled into this. They're kind of pushing us towards like this very money-centric thing. Like everyone's trying to push us into esports, into YouTube, while ironically, YouTube is pushing gamers and content creators away with all of their stuff. But yeah, you see that with the Anthem thing, like with the scripted YouTuber people, the shoutcaster that was in Microsoft. I think that whole push towards this culture that, I mean, it exists, but it's not what gaming is about. E3 is about showing us the content, not showing us the content that people make off of it and trying to sell it like it's some hyped up thing. It was worse than I've ever seen.
I mean, I appreciate where they're going when they just grab, like, for example, there were a few compilations and highlight packages where they just grabbed, say, big moments from people. And if they did a thing where they just grabbed it from somebody and then they sent them a letter and said, "Do you mind if we use this?" then that's okay. But it's when you bring in people and you have them start talking about it on like a very slick, polished EA video. That's the problem. It's like this. Like if you take somebody out for dinner, don't tell them before they order that you're going to pay for the dinner, because that's going to influence what they buy. They might get less. They might be a dick and they might get more. You buy it after.
It's all about presentation.
Yeah.
It's all about presentation. If you look at something like
yeah, we took care of it.
Yeah, right. If you look at something like they're not called the VGAs, but the Video Game Awards, like they had a Best YouTuber award, they had a Best Esports Player award.
Yeah. But
they felt like they were the segments were written by people who have their finger on the pulse. They were good YouTubers. It didn't feel like it was a corporate meeting onto a screen. It felt like these were gamers talking to other gamers and everyone understood. And it was like, hey, cool, you win this award. It's awesome. Everything about the E3 aspect of YouTubing and esports and all that stuff felt very, very scripted, very written, and very corporate. It's the exact opposite of what makes YouTube great, is when a giant company, which is known as one of the worst in the entire industry, is like, we love our community. We are our community. It's like, no, actually, your community hates you. That's what the real thing is. And I think that's the issue with it. When you treat it normally, like, yeah, I don't mind seeing YouTubers and stuff like that if you're tertiary to the main stuff. And I feel like it kind of spread across. The only people who didn't really do that at all were Nintendo, because they did a direct, Ubisoft, and Sony. So, I mean, good on you guys. Ubisoft didn't have any shoutcasters. They had their dancers, but that's Ubisoft, and that's a whole other thing.
This was the best Ubisoft conference I've ever seen. They're getting a lot better. Yeah. They're learning how to drop the big moments, and they are toning down everything else. So, but we're not here to talk about positive things.
No, more shit.
Let's talk about something that really bothers you, and that is how many gameplay trailers you see for something. You're a big fan of, well, I'll let you explain what you're a big fan of.
Yeah, I'll just say it really easy, because you were hyped up for Sony's PS4 conference.
As hyped up after watching all of this like corporate stuff and community and esports and fucking online persistent worlds, and here's some YouTubers. Sony was just this beautiful breath of fresh air. We're just a walk in the park. When I was watching their conference, I forgot I was watching a conference. I was just watching cool gameplay trailers.
I agree with you 100% on that. Is that that they did that, but the
and
content.
I'm a fanboy.
Well, and it's okay. But here's the thing with me, and I know that this isn't objectively a thing that sucks, because some people love this, but if you look at something like Bethesda's E3 conference, which people didn't love a lot because they didn't announce anything new, they announced Wolfenstein 2 and Evil Within 2. Both had about 6-7 minute trailers, which I think is long. But what those things did is they showed you CGI stuff, gave you a good idea of the story, showed you actual gameplay, and then they're like, hey, both of these games are coming out in less than 6 months.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them at a big press conference. When you look at something like Sony, and I think Microsoft was a victim on this, at least one games. I can't remember, but Sony, we got 5 minutes of God of War. Yeah, we got 5 minutes of God of War last year. We got 2 minutes, or no, we got like I think 6 minutes of Days Gone. Cool, we had 2 minutes of Days Gone last year. They did this multiple times, I want to say, and the problem is that what you're doing is you're taking precious time, and you're shoving things like the Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo 7, which people are crazy into. That wasn't even at the press conference. Instead, we got a second trailer for whatever, like Days Gone, that zombie game, which doesn't even have a...
Gran Turismo was on the pre-show with actually some other interesting games too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand not showing knack too, but don't show me a second extended gameplay trailer for a game that you don't have a release date for when you have a game that comes out this fall that is a huge franchise. You have a gameplay trailer for it, and you show it during your pre-show. That is giving a big middle finger to the entire Gran Turismo fanboy base. And I don't even like Gran Turismo, but I'm saying I know people who do, and to piss them off that much by saying, yeah, here's a game that we don't have a release date for, but we're going to show you 4 times more of it than we're going to show you any Gran Turismo.
Just to show how that affected me is that I didn't know Gran Turismo Sport was coming out this year. I mean, when I think of Gran Turismo, fall
2017.
That's crazy. When I think of Gran Turismo, I think, it's coming out in whenever Polyphony feels like it. Yeah, on that pre-show, they had a big tour of Polyphony's studio. They talked about their 200-person team and how everyone's very special. Yep. They had a really cool... it's like called Crosslink or something, or PlayLink, where it's going to be like Jackbox Party Pack style games where you can do it. You can play a thriller. One person has a controller. Everyone else uses their phone to control it. That was a really cool idea for to get your casual friends in that don't know how to work dual sticks but still want to play. And yeah, they didn't put that on there for more Days Gone. I think.
Here's the crazy thing too is that. Jackbox is super popular on Twitch because people can come in and that's like the realistic aspect of Twitch community and live streaming that people are actually excited about.
Yeah.
Like we're taking those kind of things away and shoving them into pre-shows. Like that's kind of the stuff that I would like to see. But even if you're going to go from a commercial standpoint and you're trying to make money, like show Gran Turismo. I understand people like to see gameplay trailers, and maybe I'm the flip side. For me, I like something like Bethesda. I look at Ubisoft, how they did Mario plus Rabbids. That comes out this year. They showed us the story. We had a brief announcement. There was leaks and stuff, but they showed us the story. They showed us gameplay. Cool, that's it. We'll see you guys when you buy it. That's how I like to see it, because then you get people who complain that games were shown too early, like Kingdom Hearts. People will complain about Last of Us not being out for the next 3 years.
Death Stranding, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, Metroid Prime 4, the core Pokemon game that people are still trying to figure out. What does that mean?
Metroid Prime 4, and that's why I get here and there, because Metroid Prime 4 is something that I was like, yes, but it's what's wrong with it's not going to be out for like 4 years, so why am I seeing it now? I understand it's for a hype train, but once again, people want different things from E3, so
that's the thing is like, do people
know what I want?
Yeah.
But
you like the
you,
Bethesda style. You like when Bethesda came out with Fallout 4 and said, by the way, here's one of the biggest franchises in gaming, and you can buy it in a couple of months. That was
close,
killer.
But they showed 25 minutes of Fallout 4, and that was even worse to me. Like, that's the whole reason I don't want multiple gameplay trailers, is because if you sell me well, I want to buy it. I don't want to spoil it. I'm one of those people who watches the first trailer for a movie, and I don't want to see much about it because I'm going to see it.
Yeah, they're gonna show you the whole arc of the film, and that's why I stay off social media if there's a game that I want to play, really quickly, and people are posting a bunch of crap of it on Twitter, and it's like, even just seeing the environments and the enemies and all that stuff, like that is a part of the discovery process. So we need to get away from these crazy spoilers.
I understand that games are 30 to 40 hours long now, but like Horizon Zero Dawn had a moment that would have been awesome had I not seen it twice at E3 for multiple years. Like it was really a really, really cool moment, crafted super, super well, had a big ass kind of tiger thing. I don't want to spoil it, but I saw it already, and that made me upset. I'm like, come on. It was just sell me once is all I want. But what do you want?
And like the complete, as much as I am excited there's a Beyond Good and Evil 2, I'm not a fan of this complete CGI trailer that really tells you nothing. The only thing I can go off of is that the tone is completely different. So that these total CGI trailers, like what is the point of that other than just trying to get the hype up? And I think for some people that is what they want, but I think you need to show something else. However, you look at something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3 might have had a little bit of gameplay. But Final Fantasy VII Remake was the same thing. You could have just shown people the logo. You could have Metroid Primed it.
And I think this thing it's very here nor there, because we thought Beyond Good and Evil 2's trailer was one of the best things, but I don't think it was necessarily the trailer itself, but the fact that they haven't forgotten that franchise and they're actually going to go back to it.
But it was like a Christopher Nolan movie. At first I was blown away, and then the more I thought about it, the more I didn't really like it.
It doesn't fit with the whole thing.
But I'll come around with it because we'll have to see. It's just that, I mean, when it comes to that, people want that stuff, and I think that E3 in a way does need some of these like big moments. You need to show somebody a logo. I'm actually fine with the Metroid Prime reveal. There's a logo. I trust them. They're going to make the game. But
exactly.
I think that about wraps it up for what we thought was wrong with this year's E3 and the ones moving forward.
Can't think of anything else.
If we missed anything, put them in the comments below, everybody. You can find our stuff on a90skid.com. I'm going to do yours. You can do mine. You can find Matt on Twitter at, well, he's got a podcast. It's called Super Gamecast 64. So SGC64. And his name's Matthew Owen. He writes reviews. He just did a review on a Telltale game. Telltale's Guardian of the Galaxy episode. You can read that on a90skid.com.
You can find this guy wherever he is on my screen. You can find him on 90skid.com. You can also find him on Twitter at GameThinkTalk. He does a podcast. You can also get that on Stitcher, wherever you find your podcasts. It's great. He wrote a thing about he did the Sony press conference wrap up. He did a whole Ubisoft press conference wrap up. He also does wrestling reviews and stuff. So if you're into wrestling, check out that stuff. He does tons of cool niche content.
There you go. Yeah, everybody. We're going to have a Harry Potter review up for you next week if you're into some Harry Potter movie stuff. If you're like, screw movies, I only like games, there'll be plenty more game stuff where this came from.
Lots of reviews.
Thanks for watching. Bye for now.